CTV News with Angela Mackenzie.
Good evening. The series between the Sabres and Canadiens turns to Montreal tonight. Puck drop in Game 3 is about an hour away. And Kelly, there are more screens outside the Bell Centre for fans to watch.
That's right, Angela. If you can't get tickets to go inside the Bell Centre, there's more options for you here outside. The Montreal Canadiens have added a third screen outside the Bell Centre for the thousands of fans who come watch outside every single home game. They do add, though, the Montreal Canadiens, that you should not bring fireworks, you should not bring smoke bombs, as we've seen a heavy police presence both before, during, and, well, especially after the games when the 21,000 fans from inside head outside. Now, it, of course, is a very beautiful Montreal day here. Great weather, so people are very happy. And, of course, it is also Mother's Day, so we have quite a few families in attendance tonight. Some very lucky moms who have tickets courtesy of their kids.
No, we expect nothing less from Montrealers. They are true blue Montreal Canadian fans. This is Hockey Nation, and Montreal is the undisputed capital of that. Woo!
It's what I expected. It's awesome. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, we love. It's the mecca of hockey, right?
Is this
Yes.
your first playoff game?
Yes.
What are you expecting tonight?
High atmosphere.
Who's scoring tonight?
Caulfield.
Yes. He's gonna score. He'll be back tonight. We know it. Yeah.
The vibe is amazing. It's incredible. Like, you never see this many people outside in Montreal unless it's the playoffs. So it's amazing. Yeah.
Now, well, some people got their mom's tickets. I got my mom a free rally towel. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Now, as to the game, this is Game 3, the first one here in Montreal in this series. Worth noting that Jakub Dobeš is 4-0 after coming off a loss, and on Friday night, the Montreal Canadiens won 5-1. Worth noting, though, Alex Lyon, the Buffalo Sabres goaltender, is currently 3-0 on the road in the playoffs, so it will be a tall task tonight. Now, it's very loud here, but it's also very loud in the building. What if you ever imagined what it's like to be on the bench, hearing those thousands of fans chanting? Well, we asked Martin St. Louis about that. Also, Joe Veleno, who will be making his Bell Centre debut in the playoffs tonight.
You got to take the moment. You know, I feel like you know what's coming, and you got to take it. You know, I feel the preparation is done before that. And I feel that's a couple minutes that you can really take it all in, and you know, those are moments that you'll remember forever. That feeling is unbelievable, and you can't, it's hard to describe. I think you have to be in the building, you know, and for me it's hard to describe on the bench what that feels like. I think you have to be on the bench, but you got to take those moments in.
Extremely excited. Obviously, you know, watching the games and seeing how the atmosphere is, you know, just kind of gives you the itch to get out there, and you know, really grateful obviously to get that opportunity here today and to play in front of, you know, Montreal fans and at the Bell Centre. Just honestly really excited.
It won't just be fans watching tonight. Also, the Carolina Hurricanes will be watching, not in person, of course, but they won their series already against the Philadelphia Flyers. They swept them 4-0, so they are awaiting the winner of this series. It's only in Game 3 so far. Puck drop, Angela, at just after 7 o'clock, and it'll be sure to be another loud one here at the Bell Centre.
All right, thanks, Kelly. That's Kelly Gregg at the Bell Centre. Well, there is major recruitment effort underway to staff the new hospital in Vaudreuil-Soulanges. The opening is still about 2 years away, but already there are concerns about whether there will be enough doctors. Matt Gilmore reports.
Construction continues on one of the province's most significant healthcare projects in decades.
It's an opportunity to restabilize the capacity according to the growth of the population.
The Vaudreuil-Soulanges Hospital will add more than 400 new beds to a region that's currently underserved. The local health authority expects it will have to recruit about 230 physicians to make it fully operational.
It is a net addition to the healthcare capacity here in the region. So we are not switching over or transferring, but that increases the the challenge.
Already, the province is short around 2,000 family doctors, and the Federation of General Practitioners isn't sure where the new recruits are going to come from.
If people go from one place to the other, you just transpose the problem from one place to the other, and that's not what we want. We need more.
When asked about recruitment issues, Premier Christine Frechette said the province is training more doctors.
We have increased the number of physicians that are being formed annually of 40%. And also we have to keep in mind that this new hospital will be opened only in 2028. So we still have a lot of time.
2-year period is too short. You know, it takes at least 7 years to form a family physician.
And Dr. Lynn Couture says fewer med school graduates are going into the field. This year alone, there are more than 100 vacant residency positions in the family medicine program.
That's more than 100 family physicians that we will not have in a 2-year period when the hospital opens. So it's a major concern for us.
For the local health authority tasked with staffing the new state-of-the-art hospital, a key to success will be looking outside of Quebec.
We have international recruitment efforts. We are talking with physicians who are interested to come to the new hospital.
The plan is to open the hospital in phases over a 3 to 5 year period, allowing some extra time to fill positions. The $2.6 billion hospital is expected to be a major economic driver for the region, with significant housing and infrastructure already under construction in anticipation of an influx of new workers. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Quebec's birth rate is declining, and that has some concern. A study by the Cardis Institute polled just over 1,000 Quebecers. It shows the majority feel the province's low birth rate of 1.3 children per woman will have a negative effect on the economy and on Quebec culture. Here's the think tank policy researcher Etienne Alexandre Beauregard.
The challenge for politicians right now is it's not about forcing people to do things that they don't do. Like, the real issue that we see there is that there is a gap, and a growing gap, between the number of children that people want to have and the number of children they actually succeed in having. And so this is what we should be concerned about, because at the individual level, it's normal that you want to realize these dreams. And certainly we have to have maybe a better ecosystem to foster this and to help people my age, younger people, be able to realize these dreams that their parents and their grandparents were able to realize, and make sure that there's no real inequality between the generations here, because that's really a good part of the story, I think.
Beauregard says other contributing factors for the low birth rate include young adults living with their parents longer, studying into their late 20s, and being hesitant to move in with romantic partners. Well, Canadian passengers stuck on a cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus outbreak are now on their way back home. Jeremy Sharon has the latest.
A highly anticipated early morning arrival. This now infamous cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus outbreak docked in Spain just after 6 a.m. local time. Today, a careful and calculated disembarking process. Small groups of passengers being transported on small boats after being tested to ensure they remain asymptomatic. Among the approximately 130 passengers, 4 Canadians who left the boat today, taken straight to the airport and right onto a flight back to Canada. According to the Public Health Agency of Canada and Global Affairs, the 4 Canadians took a chartered flight to Bagotville, Quebec, then switched planes to get to an airport in BC. Saying in a statement, upon arrival in BC, the travelers will be assessed by local public health before leaving the airport to stay at a predetermined location to self-isolate for a minimum of 21 days.
This is not another COVID. And the risk to the public is low.
3 people died and at least 5 others were confirmed to have been infected. The outbreak quickly sparked international concerns, but infectious disease experts suggest it's unlikely the virus will continue to spread.
This is a virus that it really doesn't readily spread from person to person. So to me, this is really I think, best understood as an opportunity to execute what can be done well, to do it competently, and to show the public that everything is okay.
The World Health Organization says it expects to complete its repatriation efforts Monday, after which the crew of about 30 will make its way to the Netherlands, where the ship will be fully disinfected after docking. Jeremy Charles, CTV News, Ottawa.
2 Canadians are among those facing charges tonight after allegedly trying to smuggle nearly 90 firearms into the country. New York State Police released these images of firearms. They were discovered in a vehicle pulled over during a traffic stop this week. 89 weapons were found. 17 of those had been reported stolen. 2 Canadian citizens from Ontario and a third man who is a Pakistani national are now facing multiple charges. 53 years ago, a 2-month-old baby died in a Quebec hospital. Her parents were never given the chance to bring her home. Now her siblings are leading the way to find her so they can finally bury her properly. Rachel Lau explains.
A photo of an empty baby carrier. It's one of the few reminders of the baby the Echaquan family lost in 1973.
Je m'en souviens. Ma sœur était dans un Tikinagan.
Viviane Echaquan Nike's sister, Loriana, was 2.5 months old when she died after being admitted to a hospital in Joliette for pneumonia. She says her body was never returned to her family, and the memory of her mother crying will be forever ingrained in her mind.
Ma mère, j'attendais souvent pleurer. Puis je me disais, là, pourquoi qu'il pleure?
Loriana's sister is one of about 130 families looking into the deaths and disappearances of more than 220 children from the 1940s to the 1980s. It's part of Bill 79, introduced in 2021 by Indigenous Affairs and Domestic Security Minister Yann Lafrenière, allowing families to request investigations.
This is a dark side of our Quebec history. We're talking about families that have been looking for their children for years, some as much as 40, 50 years.
The searches and potential exhumations are a joint effort between the Quebec government and Indigenous organization Awashak.
They've been living without knowing what exactly happened. In some cases, kids were sent to adoption without notifying the family, so you can imagine how hard it is.
On May 1st, Quebec's Superior Court authorized the exhumation of Loriana's presumed resting place, where the Echaquan family was told she was eventually buried.
Je me sens léger. Je me sens léger à cause que on a fait du travail beaucoup.
A feeling of relief, says Viviane, though she adds her parents will never know what truly happened to their 2.5-month-old. Armand Echaquan and Madeleine Dubé died within weeks of each other in the spring of 2021, just before Bill 79 was passed into law.
Mais j'avais la peine aussi à cause que mes parents étaient pas là, mon père et ma mère étaient pas là.
Loriana's exhumation is set to begin in June. It would be the 5th exhumation in Quebec. Viviane says she hopes the searches will bring some answers, closure to her family, that may possibly include bringing her baby sister home to Manwan. Rachel Lau, CTV News.
Members of Quebec Solidaire have endorsed limiting rent increases to the inflation rate. At its weekend convention, party delegates argue an inflation-linked cap would better balance tenant protections and housing stability. Housing affordability has become a major political issue across Canada as rents continue to rise in many cities. The convention's rent cap motion would apply if the party were to form Quebec's government. The Parti Québécois announced today MNA Joel Arsenault will run again for the PQ in the Magdalen Islands in the next election. Arsenault was first elected as a member of the PQ in 2018. Since then, he's been the third opposition critic on health, homelessness, the environment, and public safety, among others. Well, Women in the Rise is an NDG organization that has been a safe space for single moms and new immigrants for 25 years. But it recently faced a challenge of its own. Lauren Fernandez explains.
Does this look okay? The team from the NDG-based nonprofit Women on the Rise is preparing for a special Mother's Day celebration.
We want to give back to you all who give so much to us.
empowering women through workshops, support groups, and more. Alexandra Chelier represents the organization. She says the community is relying on their services now more than ever.
We've seen an increase in requests for our conjugal violence support group, perinatal mental health support group, for activities, for diapers, for baby formula. It's tough right now.
And they've had challenges of their own. The organization had to leave their building after the deep freeze in January.
We have old-fashioned water pipe radiators for the heating system. So the water pipes for the heating system were what started leaking.
With no timeline on when the building will be repaired, they found a way to keep going.
Because of the support that we've had from our other partner organizations, we've managed to continue running our programs outside of the building.
They say they had to carry on for those who count on them.
The women who come are coming from other countries, from other cultures. Some of them are single moms. And, you know, that can be very challenging.
It's made a real impact for these moms.
It made me realize, like, what a safe space looks like.
I feel like I have a community and I have a place to fall, and knowing that you're not alone.
Helping women navigate through tough times.
It gives women the opportunity to talk about like the pain that they're going through and to not feel alone in that, but also to be silly and lighthearted.
All of you is welcome here, not just the good parts, all the parts.
A testament that community support can change lives. Lauren Fernandez, CTV News.
Turning to the weather now, it's 13 degrees in Montreal and partly cloudy right now, a chance of showers expected later in the evening. Tomorrow, the week kicks off with a mix of sun and cloud in the forecast again, a high of 13 degrees expected. And you'll likely need your umbrella midweek, and on Saturday, temperatures should get above 20 on the weekend. Still to come, the continued push for peace between Iran and the U.S. And a family's search for answers after SWAT teams descend on their home. A Pakistani government official has confirmed they have received Iran's latest peace proposal and sent it to the U.S. Meantime, Iran is issuing new warnings to its enemies if it is attacked again. An Iranian military spokesperson says Iran's enemies would have to deal with new weapons and warfare tactics in retaliation. He adds vessels that follow U.S. sanctions against Iran will struggle to cross the Strait of Hormuz. On social media, Iran's deputy foreign minister says any deployment of ships in the region is being seen by Iran as a, quote, escalation of the crisis, militarization of the waterway, and an attempt to cover up the true root of insecurity in the region. Well, Pope Leo, the first American to lead the Roman Catholic Church, is marking his first year as pontiff this weekend. As Melissa Adon reports, the year has seen a surge of interest in the Catholic Church.
1 year ago this weekend, the first American pope was elected.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Across the U.S. and around the world, Catholicism is on the move. A driving force behind this, a new generation.
Come to church with me and 300 other Gen Z Catholics in New York City.
Leading to surges of Catholic converts from New York City to Los Angeles. Dioceses across the country this year reporting doubling or even tripling their average number of new Catholics. Much of it moved by young people.
My name is Anthony, and a couple months ago I was visiting and ranking every Catholic church in the Big Apple. And I did it with one goal: find community.
We discovered the same sentiment in Africa, the fastest growing region of the Catholic Church worldwide, driven by youth.
What significance is it as a young person that is Catholic?
Oh, everything is good to be a young Catholic because you're having some movement in church.
The great enthusiasm, the joy of the people was absolutely fantastic.
Within his first year, the 70-year-old pontiff making strides, visiting Turkey and Lebanon for his first papal trip in the fall. Then in the spring, he headed to Monaco.
I think there's a little bit of the Leo effect.
The Los Angeles Diocese welcomed more than 8,000 new Catholics for Easter this year. They are projected to more than triple the amount of new converts from last year.
He's speaking in English. He understands the U.S., and so it's getting to people directly in a way unmediated.
Pope Leo has several papal visits in store this year. Next month, he's visiting Spain. Then later this year, there are plans for France and possibly a trip across Latin America, a place very dear to the American Pope's heart. But there is no word yet on when he plans to visit the United States. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
An elderly couple from Burlington, Ontario, and their daughter had a shocking surprise. They discovered a full tactical SWAT team on their doorstep with guns pointed at them. Almost a year later, they're still looking for answers. John Woodward reports.
Tactical rescue unit.
Those are heavily armed Halton Regional Police officers on the doorstep of this Burlington home.
I will never forget that day.
Jennifer Olchowi still shaken. Her mom, Jeannie, is 85, and her dad, Nicholas, is 94. All of them had no idea why a full tactical SWAT team descended on their address last August with their rifles ready to be used.
There are guns, assault rifles aimed on our head, and I am trying consciously not to flinch because I don't want us to get shot.
The Olchowi's phone rang, and it was officers asking them to come outside and then put their arms in the air.
They're telling me to put my hands up. Are you serious?
All I could hear was the screaming, and I kept saying, why am I putting my arms up in the air? What have we done?
Jeannie and Jennifer complied. Nicholas, who was still in their house, didn't know what to make of the demands.
No. Are you kidding?
Eventually, Nicholas came out too.
I started to walk towards the officers, and they said, take your time, even though the killer was supposedly in the house. There was nobody there.
They learned from officers at the scene that someone had called police warning of an active shooter at their address with a name they didn't recognize. It's a tactic called swatting, a fake call that brings down the SWAT team that creates a terrifying experience for those inside. Several schools in the GTA were disrupted recently, a victim of the same tactic.
It's certainly become common in online gaming communities of teenagers.
Cybersecurity expert Chester Wisniewski said tracing a call can be difficult, but authorities have had more success catching people when they do it more than once.
The anonymity of the internet emboldens people to commit these types of crimes.
As for this case, Halton police said they're investigating and say police have a duty to respond strategically to active and potential threats to protect the community. Most often in the case of a swatting incident, the caller alleges an ongoing violent incident is taking place and officers must respond to meet any and all potential threats until such time as the incident is proven to be false.
It's still traumatic. I don't go out the front door.
The Olchowi's still reeling today. They filed a complaint. They wish the incident had been handled differently, and they're still waiting for a full explanation. John Woodward, CTV News.
Up next, Chinese EVs set to hit the Canadian market. And they're competing to collect thousands of used batteries. We return to one of our top stories today. Passengers on board a luxury Antarctica cruise ship affected with hantavirus are going home, including several Canadians. 8 people on board were infected. 3 of them died, according to the CDC. Maggie Rulli has more.
Tonight, 17 Americans on a luxury cruise ship at the center of a hantavirus outbreak are returning to the U.S. Their destination, Omaha, Nebraska, where the National Quarantine Unit is located. There, the passengers will be evaluated by CDC specialists. There's currently no evidence of widespread community transmission. If cleared, they'll be allowed to go home and self-monitor for symptoms. Hours earlier, passengers and crew members from nearly 24 different countries disembarked off Tenerife in the Canary Islands. Part of the crew staying on to sail the ship. People from Australia and New Zealand will depart tomorrow. These are some of the first people allowed off that ship. We can see a small group on board right now. They're dressed in full blue protective gear. We saw some of them waving back to people on the ship as they're getting ferried to the shore right here. They were only allowed to bring their hand luggage. The rest of their belongings left on board to be disinfected. Once in port, the passengers boarding military-guarded buses before heading to the airport. We spoke by phone with Dr. Steve Kornfeld, an American oncologist who became the ship's de facto lead doctor after the ship's physician on board got sick.
And it just kind of escalated. Within 24 hours after I stepped in, one of the patients died. And the other 2, the physician and one of the other staff members, were getting progressively thicker. And then the first news of hantavirus came out.
Health officials are monitoring at least 9 Americans across 6 states, Arizona, California, Virginia, Texas, Georgia, and New Jersey, after possible exposure to a person with the virus. None have shown symptoms. Health experts say hantavirus is difficult to transmit from person to person.
This is not another COVID, and the risk to the public is low. So they shouldn't be scared and they shouldn't panic.
Maggie Rulli, ABC News, Tenerife, the Canary Islands.
They're not here yet, but Chinese electric vehicles are coming to Canada soon at a time when interest in EVs appears to be growing. Danielle Breton, President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada, joins me now. So Danielle, the last time you and I spoke, gas prices had just started spiking and interest in EVs was already going up. How's the EV market in Canada doing now?
Oh, it's growing significantly because both of the price of gas and the fact that the federal government decided to bring back the $5,000 rebate for the purchase of electric cars. So these two combined has made for a significant spike in EV sales in Quebec, but across the country as well.
So Canada created a quota system earlier this year that would allow up to 49,000 Chinese-built EVs into the country per year. Which manufacturers are planning to enter the Canadian market at this time?
Well, the ones we're pretty confident that are going to take some cars is BYD and Geely so far, but we know that other manufacturers like Zeekr, Dongfeng, and some others are interested in bringing cars from China. But keep in mind that when we're talking about Chinese-made EVs, they do not necessarily come from Chinese car manufacturers. For example, Tesla has announced that they were bringing in the Tesla Model 3 from China at below $40,000. And we are expecting other car manufacturers like Ford, Volvo, Polestar, GM, they would bring Chinese-assembled cars from China to Canada. So it's not just going to be Chinese car manufacturers, but it's going to be Chinese-built cars from U.S. or Japanese manufacturers as well.
Right. So I guess for Tesla and many of these other manufacturers, they're really trying to get ahead of the Chinese manufacturers as well. So they have the more affordability, I'm imagining.
Yeah. So that's a great question because people assume that if it's a Chinese car, it will necessarily mean that the vehicle is going to be very affordable. There will be affordable models coming to the Canadian market, and we're starting to see that. But I'm also expecting higher-end electric vehicles in China as well. So when I was in Shanghai 2 months ago, I saw some very, very cheap Chinese cars, very affordable ones. But there are some high-end Chinese cars as well. So you can end up having $80,000, $100,000 Chinese cars built by Chinese car manufacturers. So I think we will have a whole selection of Chinese cars from low end to high end, all electric or plug-in hybrid electric.
And when we're talking low end, I mean, how affordable could some of these models be?
Oh, I'm expecting down to $25,000. And keep in mind that, if you're looking at the most affordable gas cars today, we're talking about $28,000, $30,000. So it will mean a growing competition between car makers, between Chinese and other car makers. And I think it's going to have an impact on price for consumers, which is something that people need because, let's be honest here, the price of grocery has gone up, the price of mortgages, the price of rent. So since everything is going up and the price of a new car has gone up 50% between 2019 and now, average price, it means that if consumers can find affordable cars, either from Chinese or Japanese or American car manufacturers, they will certainly be interested because right now, let's be honest, the selection of very affordable entry-level cars has dwindled significantly in the past 2-3 years.
As far as models go, do we know much about what we'll be seeing? Are they going to be comparable to the EVs that are currently available here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And some of them might be even more advanced than some of those models that we are seeing right now in the country. Technologically speaking, Chinese cars are very advanced. So it will mean that it's going to be a growing competition between Chinese car makers and some other car makers who have been lagging behind when it came to EV technology. You know, you have to keep in mind that depending on the car manufacturers, some car manufacturers are really embracing the transition to EVs, but some others have been lagging behind, or even some of them have been fighting against the transition to EVs, which means that some car makers that we know are going to suffer from this transition and the import of Chinese cars. So I'm pretty confident when I say that between now and the next 10 years, the picture is going to be very different regarding the type of model that's being offered, what car company is going to stay on the market, and the selection of affordable electric cars coming to Canada.
We're just about out of time, Danielle, but do we know exactly when we'll see the first cars arrive here?
Before the end of the year.
All right, Danielle Breton, thanks so much for this.
My pleasure.
Canadians are recycling more batteries than ever before, and the practice is getting a boost from classroom education. At one PEI elementary school, students collected thousands of kilograms of used batteries. Maria Saru has more.
Students at Elliott River Elementary were charged up for good reason. Last fall, they recycled more than 2,500 kilograms of used batteries. Chuck McFarlane brought in 4 full bags.
Like this big, it really helps out the animals and the environment.
For 6 years in a row, students have filled collection boxes like this, helping the school beat dozens of others across PEI, Ontario, and Alberta in the Battery Blitz contest.
I don't want batteries to end up in the landfill.
Round of applause for you guys.
John McQuaid with Call to Recycle, which organizes the competition, says the average Canadian household has about 100 batteries in use at any given time. When they're done, they need to go somewhere safe.
It could catch fire, some of these batteries, and the chemicals inside the batteries could be harmful to the environment.
The contest also comes with cash prizes. Here, the money has turned this area into an outdoor classroom.
It's taken a dead space and turned it into a lively space.
At this ceremony, the town's mayor said the students are showing how small actions can add up.
It's hard to believe that one little battery taken by one person, added together, can make such a big change in the world.
School contests like this are meant to make battery recycling feel routine so students can continue the habit long after they've left the classroom. Maria Sru, CTV News Cornwall, Prince Edward Island.
Time now for In Case You Missed It. The STM is asking people to mind their manners. Officials are asking riders to be more civil to one another, and it's put up posters targeting bad behavior. Denise Roberts reports.
In this early ad for the Metro, ridership is presented as a friendly, communal experience. But ask riders today, and they paint a different picture.
Well, there are people with a cell phone that come over you and they just talk. You know, I don't know why everybody with cell phone needs somebody to see them.
I take the bus and Metro often, and I notice that the younger generation, they don't take off their backpacks, which really annoys me.
The most that I get disturbed with, I think it's personal space. I think metros are getting very, crowded right now.
Maybe just maybe leave more seats for elders. Sometimes people just don't give your seats.
The STM has heard those complaints and launched a campaign to encourage good behavior on its buses and metros. Posters are going up reminding riders to take only one seat, place backpacks at their feet, let people out before they enter, move towards the back of the bus, and wear headphones when using electronic devices. The STM says the campaign takes a positive approach, reminding riders that responsible behavior can create a ripple effect. Good brings good. While it may seem like common sense, etiquette expert Julie Blais-Comont says unfortunately these reminders are necessary.
It is a reflection of our society that civility in general is declining.
She says post-pandemic there's been a lack of social cohesion, and bad behavior is often praised, especially on social media. She says smiling, making eye contact, and saying thank you goes a long way.
That as we live together in society, that being polite, being civil, courteous, respectful, will make it a lot easier and more enjoyable.
And while you don't have to be quite as joyful as the people in this ad, it will help to make for a nicer ride. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
When we return, the search for answers and proper care.
I started second guessing myself, like, is this menopause or am I like starting to lose my faculties?
Virtual menopause clinics are popping up in Canada. The Canadiens have always had fans across the country. For one fan in rural Ontario, loving the Habs is a family tradition. Madison Merrier has more.
Eric Lafreniere has been a fan of the Habs since childhood.
My grandfather on my mom's side was a big Montreal Canadiens fan, and one day he decided to take the train with his friends, and they went to Montreal at the Montreal Forum, and unfortunately at the age of 52 he had a heart attack as he was handing in his ticket at the game, and he passed away right there in the Montreal Forum.
The loss of his grandfather further ignited his family's love for the team, even memorializing his grandfather on a brick outside the arena.
I contacted them when I got to Montreal, and they presented me with a nice frame with the game sheet of the game my grandfather missed, because he was handing in his ticket when he's passed away, so he missed a game. So they gave me the game sheet, the official game sheet, framed with a memory of Joe LaPrairie at the bottom of the game sheet, and a nice handwritten letter.
The team has been a part of his family his whole life, which is why he dedicated his garage to the Habs, much to his wife's chagrin.
I had to ask her politely if she can not park in the garage, because this is where we watch our games. It was a hard sell. However, part of the agreement is that I have to go out and make sure her car is warm for her in the winter and take the snow off.
But Lafreniere said she is happy she no longer has to hear them watch the game, as he and his son get a little rowdy, and during the playoffs it hits a new level.
I've had a lot of people here last Friday. It was a packed house. It was standing room only in here, and my friends, I had friends and family in here watching the game. It was incredible. I even had a neighbor in the back call me out and say they could hear us cheering from inside my garage.
The Habs losing their first game didn't get Lafreniere down. He's even bringing his interior decorating outside to change his exterior lights to shine Habs colors during the games. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
With soaring fuel and insurance costs, owning a vehicle is very expensive. As Pat Foran reports, there are many things to consider when shopping for a new car.
Car shopping involves a lot of careful considerations: price, performance, safety, reliability, and depending on the price of gas, fuel economy.
This isn't the time to splurge and get that car that's bigger than what you need. Think about what you need on a day-to-day basis.
Due to tariffs, inflation, and other factors, owning a car is now more expensive than ever before.
Car ownership has skyrocketed over the past 4 to 5 years in every way. The price of cars, the cost of operating them.
According to a recent Rate Hub survey, the average expenses to own a car in Canada for a loan, interest, fuel, maintenance, parking, and insurance is now more than $1,400 a month. It may be no surprise there's currently less demand for larger luxury vehicles as consumers try to save money.
We're finding that more and more consumers now are gravitating towards the lower price cars, under $40,000. Many consumers would like to spend under $30,000 on a new car, but your options are very limited at that price point.
Car shoppers are also going for base models with fewer options and lower trim levels to keep costs down. But one segment that is doing very well is anything hybrid.
The good news is that there are hybrid versions of many cars out there of all shapes and sizes. And in Consumer Reports tests, we find that not only can they save you a ton of money on fuel, but they're also, in general, more fun to drive.
While hybrids may cost more up front, they often make up the difference quickly.
A hybrid could easily save you $1,000 a year in gas. And hybrids also have higher resale value. So you get that money back in the back end when you sell it or trade it in.
With high gas prices, there's also been a huge surge in interest in electric cars. Sales are up due in part to a new $5,000 federal rebate. Many manufacturers also have their own rebates to help bring the cost of EV ownership down. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Melanoma is the deadliest type of skin cancer, and if it's not caught early, it can spread to other organs. Mandy Gaither now on what to watch out for.
In the U.S. this year alone, it's estimated that around 112,000 people will be diagnosed with invasive melanoma, and more than 8,500 people will die of the disease. But if it's caught early, this most serious type of skin cancer is highly treatable.
We would recommend that people do self-checks on their skin.
Dr. Igor Puzanov with Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center says to watch out for spots or moles like these. They're pictures of actual melanomas from the Skin Cancer Foundation. Look for the ABCDEs of the skin cancer. A is for asymmetry, if one half of the spot is unlike the other. B is for border. Look for edges that are irregular, scalloped, or poorly defined. C is for color. Watch out for spots with varying colors from one area to the next, such as shades of tan, brown, or black, or areas of white, red, or blue. D is for diameter. Melanomas are usually about the size of a pencil eraser, but can also be smaller. Finally, E is for evolving. Look to see if a spot looks different from others or is changing in size, shape, or color.
These are the red flags, and you should go see a dermatologist or primary doctor and then dermatologist and have a biopsy, preferably.
Puzanov says melanoma can grow anywhere on the body, including in the mouth, nose, under the nails, on or between toes and fingers. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Menopause is something all women go through, but finding answers and the right medical care can be a struggle. A new virtual menopause clinic is hoping to help bridge that gap. Amanda Anderson reports.
I started second guessing myself, like, is this menopause or am I starting to lose my faculties,
Deb Volrath says the hot flashes, hair loss, and memory issues started about 6 years ago.
People make a lot of jokes about menopause, like, oh, you're going crazy or you're losing all your hair and stuff like that. Those were actually happening to me.
Answers she and many women struggled to get. As the years passed and symptoms persisted, her frustration grew.
This is a big deal. Every single woman on the planet is going to go through it. And it seems like this big black box that no one talks about.
There's over 34 validated symptoms of menopause.
Dr. Nesha Yüksel says on average, women go through perimenopause and menopause for 7 to 8 years, sometimes longer. How it impacts each woman can vary.
It depends on how much they're affected by those hormone fluctuations. So there are some women who only see menstrual cycle changes and maybe no symptoms. There are women that see menopause symptoms and no cycle changes, and there are women that see both.
She says there are very few specialized menopause clinics in Canada, and the wait to get in can be long. It's why she's part of a local team behind Ethica, a virtual menopause clinic.
We're helping you make sense of your symptoms, what's happening. We're listening, validating, and helping you navigate what would be the best option for you and what care plan would be best for you.
There is a fee to access the service, which could be covered by private health insurance. Its website does include a number of free resources to help answer women's questions about menopause. Volrath says she tried everything, including products claiming to relieve symptoms and balance hormones that popped up on social media. But it was the clinic that changed her life.
I felt like I had the information and the resources to tackle the situation and to start to regain my life. Control over my life, as opposed to menopause having control over me.
Ethica is currently available in Alberta and Ontario, but is expected to expand to other provinces in the coming months. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Coming up, a field trip for Mother's Day.
We look at the tulips every single day, and when we start getting color and buds.
Instead of sending mom flowers, they're bringing her to them. For some families, Mother's Day is about making memories. In Laval, one You Pick tulip field is giving people the chance to do just that. Laurence Brisson-Dubroy reports.
If you're hoping to pick the perfect bouquet, you'll have to move fast. The tulips are finally in bloom at this field in Laval, just in time for Mother's Day.
To see the kids running in the field, heartwarming for me.
But the timing doesn't always work out this perfectly. Owner Patra Andrianopoulos says it all comes down to the weather.
We basically track the tulips. We look at the tulips every single day, and when we start getting color and buds we are able to open. We were lucky again this year.
The sunny weekend is bringing out crowds of people looking to celebrate Mom.
She's very selfless. She does everything for me and my brother, so I'm very, very thankful every day for her.
What does she do for you?
Everything. I like her.
For some, it becomes a full family celebration.
It's our whole family. We have our grandmother, who's the matriarch, my aunts, and my mom, so all the women of the family.
It's better to go in the furthest.
It's a beautiful day. Couldn't ask for a better day.
About 800,000 tulips were planted this year. And with rows of color in every direction, some people take their time making the right pick.
It's for my wife and my mother. I have to pick the one that I choose.
For Andrianopoulos, flowers have always been part of the family. She and her husband also run a Montreal flower shop that's been around since the 60s. And the idea for the field first grew from motherhood.
When we first opened, we were just looking to have a spring activity. We have 4 kids. They were young at the time. We had nothing to do.
9 years later, the field is still drawing people in, whether it's for flowers, family time, or the perfect spring photo.
The flowers look so good.
A bright way to celebrate Mother's Day while the blooms last. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
Taking a final look at the forecast, it's 13 degrees in Montreal with partly cloudy skies, and there's a chance of showers later in the evening. Tomorrow, the week kicks off with a mix of sun and cloud in the forecast again, a high of 13 degrees. And we're expecting rain midweek and on Saturday, and temperatures could get above 20 on the weekend. Well, that's it for us. We will be back at 11:30. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.